Hey everyone, it's Kaycie, and today we're gonna do a stretching class where the entire focus is gonna be on the spine. So from the top all the way down to the bottoms of our spines, we'll get nice and open. All you're gonna need today is one block and one therapy ball. If you don't have a block, you can use stacked of books. If you don't have a therapy ball, you can use a tennis ball, lacrosse ball, or you can just skip the last posture. But I guarantee it is worth it. Let's start off on our backs, and you're gonna grab your block. And as you come down onto your backs, we're gonna take a few breaths from this position to help us relax. So bend your knees, walk the feet in towards the hips, begin to lift the hips off the ground, and you're gonna take the block at whatever height you're needing here, and just fill the space between your sacrum, the back of your hips, and the floor. So sliding your block at that desired height, preferably one of the lower two settings, unless you're really open and want to take it to that higher setting. And then just let yourself decompress and relax over the block, feeling firmly supported and held, and letting everything else just melt away. Keeping the knees bent, feet on the floor. You can separate the feet or move them around on the mat until you find a nice comfortable resting position where you're able to disengage more of the body's musculature. And I want you to really focus especially on the lower back where it joins down with the hips. Loosening up that space and just letting the lower back drape down from the hips towards the floor. Soft, relaxed, and at ease. So if you feel any tension, you can come out, or you can adjust the height of your block to accommodate your bodies. We're going to take a few breaths here. So exhale, let everything out. Through the nose, start to breathe into your belly, up into your ribs. Lift the breath up into your chest and your shoulders. Hold the breath here for a moment. Open your mouth and exhale, let it all the way out. Again, through the nose, breathing in belly, ribs, chest. Really feel your back body expand as well, your side body. Holding. This time you're going to keep the breath through the nose, exhaling, empty out through your chest, your ribs, and lastly all the way out through your belly and low back. One more slow and intentional breath in. Really focus on the breath first. Expand from the bottom, let it open in all directions, lifting all the way up to the top of the torso. Holding the breath, feeling the breath, feeling any tension or tightness within the body, and then keep it through the nose. Exhale, empty from the top, through the mid, and all the way back out through the bottom, cinching in towards the midline. And then keep the breath full, but not necessarily this as deep as you can breathing. Just find a nice rhythm where it feels expansive, where you feel the body opening, but a little more relaxed, unforced. Allow the muscles in your lower belly and your lower back to stay nice and soft. We're going to spend maybe about 5 more breaths here. You can either keep the knees bent, or I invite you to stretch your legs long and just kind of let them fall into this arced shape like a rainbow, just melting over. If this creates tension in your lower back, just rebend your knees or come out of it however you need to. Otherwise, just feel in to that opening through the front side of the hips, down into the quads. And this area of the body does become really, really tight, which can create a lot of tension in the lower back. So just feeling it softly opening. One more deep breath here. And then wiggling the fingers and the toes, start to walk the feet back in. And then if you need to hold on to your block or adjust it for stability, please do. You're going to begin to lift your knees up, lifting the feet off the floor, and then extending the legs up towards the ceiling. It's okay if there's a bend into the knees. Just work as much as extension as it feels good, while keeping that lower back nice and solid on the block. We don't want the hips curling up away from the block. And then just allow that reverse process. All that energy just starts to seep from the feet and then from the hips all the way down the spine to the mat. And as you relax here, you feel almost a little light tingling into the legs. Take 2 more breaths here and just enjoy that sensation. Begin to bend into your knees, and 1 foot at a time, lower the feet to the ground, nice and easy. We're gonna come off the block, so if you need to lift the heels for a little more space, do that. Press into the feet, lift the hips away from the block as you remove it, set it out of your way, and let the hips melt back down to the ground. And just windshield wiper your knees from side to side. When the back feels ready, knees will lift towards the chest. Hands can wrap around the legs to get a nice folding at the hips. Continue a little sway side to side. And we are going to come up into a seated position one of 2 ways. You can either just roll over to your side and press yourself up, or grab the backs of your thighs and get a little forward back momentum until you come all the way up into a nice seated position, crossing the legs here, spine up nice and tall. Let's take the hands, cup them over the knees. We're going to go through some seated cat-cows to kind of get that full spinal awareness. Take a deep breath in as you lift the spine tall. And exhale, drop your chin to your chest. Begin to curl your back, round your lower spine, tuck your tail, and lean back into it as you hold onto the knees, getting that full flexion into the spine. And then inhale, rock forward, scoop the heart forward and up. Feel the sit bones start to tilt back, getting that nice extension through the spine. And then exhale, rounding everything back, curling in nice and tight. Feel that compression. Inhaling, opening. Feel the extension, feel the space, feel the length that you're creating. And go ahead and take a couple more full rounds of breath on your own. And if you want to add more freedom into your movement, move in the ways that feel good. Let yourself explore any movement in your spine. Linking with your breath, 1 more full round. And let's make our way back, nice and neutral through the spine. And feel your right ear drop towards your right shoulder. As the right ear drops over, feel your left fingertips stretch to the left and down towards the ground. Now, as you reach those fingers away, feel the stretch all the way up the side of the neck. And then keeping the head tilted to the right side, just slowly look over the right shoulder, a little rotation. And then chin draws forward again. Hand to your lap, and then roll your chin down towards your chest. Let's roll the left ear over to the left shoulder. This time, reach your right fingertips out to the right and down. Walking those fingers away to create more space and length into the side of the neck as it melts over. And then as you keep the head tilted over, slowly begin to rotate, chin towards the left shoulder. So you're looking back over it. Chin points forward again, hand comes back down onto the knee, and roll the chin down towards your chest. Slowly roll the head all the way back up into a nice neutral position. Okay, we're gonna move through a little side body opening here. So right fingertips reach down to the right side, left hand reaches up nice and high. Now lift your spine up tall, and then slowly exhale, walk your right fingertips off to that right side. You can plant the palm, you can bend the elbow, you can keep walking it, feel it out for yourself, but take the top hand and start to stretch it overhead to that right side to get a deeper opening into your side body, okay? Now, if the arm is kind of stuck in a bow, rather than trying to draw out to the side and over, which can get you a little sticky in the shoulder, I want you to sweep the arm in front of you, then over to the right, and then roll the heart open towards the ceiling. And you'll get a little more space in your shoulder this way. Hand sweeps in front, to the right, and then roll the heart open as you reach over your head. Take it to your appropriate depth. Take another breath or so. Inhale, slowly come all the way up and let the left fingertips touch down to the ground. Side body, twists, all of that is so great for our torso opening, which is gonna help our spines tremendously. Left fingertips down to the left side. Right arm reaches up, take a deep breath in, lift the spine, and then walk your left hand over to the left side. Maybe plant the palm, maybe bend the elbow, adjust it as needed. Right arm reaches it overhead. If you need to, sweep it in front of you, to the left, and then roll the heart open as you extend the arm over to that left side. Opening up space in the heart, make sure it's not closed down. Roll it open, heavy through the right hip, fingers stretching away. One more deep breath. Feel that length all the way down into that lower right side body. Inhale, come all the way up and set your right fingertips all the way back down to the ground. Okay, we're gonna make our way down onto our bellies. So you can sweep your legs off to the side and come down to a nice prone position. On the belly, we're gonna come into Sphinx pose. So get the elbows to stack underneath the shoulders. Forearms are parallel to each other. Palms down and the fingers spread out wide on the ground. Now, as you press down into your elbows, feel your heart lift up. If the elbows are not stacked under the shoulders, you're probably gonna get a lot more collapsing here. We wanna use the actual structure of our upper arm bones to kind of hold us in place here. While actively pressing down, pull the ground towards you and feel your ribs pull forward and your heart lift up to create more opening into that upper back. So give yourself at least 3 or 4 deep breaths. Activate your legs, quads engage. Feel the tops of the feet press into the floor and feel your tail reaching towards the heels. One more breath. Now, we're gonna take the hands and we're gonna angle them slightly away from each other. And as the hands angle slightly away, you can stay here or start to press the hands and see if you can lift the elbows off the ground. If not, lower them back down and stay in that Sphinx pose. Otherwise, coming up into that seal. As you press, you come up, pull the ground towards you with your hands, ribs forward, heart up. Couple more breaths. Lower the elbows down, hands parallel. Open up the elbows and just lower your forehead down onto your stacked hands here for a moment. Bend your knees and rock your feet side to side. And then lowering the feet all the way back down to the ground. You're gonna bring your palms down right underneath your shoulders, or if you wanna line your thumbs up along your rib cage, anywhere along the way. Elbows in, hearts are nice and open, feet pressing into the floor, active through your quads. Hands push down and pull back. We're gonna do a few rounds coming up into cobra and lowering back down. So as you press through the hands, inhale, peel your heart up, your variation of cobra, doesn't matter how high. Exhale, come all the way back down. Your elbows can stay really bent or the arms can straighten out, whatever feels best, but keep the shoulders down the back and the heart open. Inhale, lift the heart forward, up and open. Exhale, bring it all the way back down. One more here. Inhale, lift up through your heart. Open up the chest. Melt the shoulders away from your ears. Maybe even lift up through your throat and your chin. One more breath. Exhale, come all the way back down. Okay, we're gonna come back up onto our forearms here. And as we come up onto our forearms, I'm gonna start with the left side so it's a little bit easier to follow here. I'm gonna draw my left knee up to my left side, coming into a half froggy position. So we're gonna get a little hip opener in here as well, which helps to open up that lower back, okay? Now from here, you might already be feeling enough. If it's too much, you can walk your elbows a little forward, okay? Otherwise, keep the elbows stacked underneath your shoulders. And feel your pelvis try to press towards the ground. Grip the ground, pull it towards you, and feel your heart reaching forward and up. If you're feeling extra sprite, separate the hands, maybe press and lift, coming back up. Make sure you're not creating any pinching in your lower back. Pull the ground towards you. Hips press towards the floor. One more breath. Okay, we're gonna play off of this. So if the elbows are up, lower them back down, forearms parallel. You're gonna walk your left elbow forward about 1 inch. Right hand, thread the needle behind your left arm. So as you thread your right hand behind your left elbow, palm is up. I'm gonna keep reaching until I drop my right shoulder to the ground. Now from here, we're gonna take it all the way into a twist on our backs. So left arm is gonna slowly opening up the chest. And as you do this, I want you to keep opening, even if your knee leaves the ground, it probably will. Keep opening, knee peels off the floor until you feel your left shoulder blade touch to the ground. Once your left shoulder touches down, left arm extends out to the side, and stay here for a couple breaths. If you want to take your right hand to that top knee and help guide it in deeper on the exhales, you can do that. Your head can also roll over to the left side to get that final rotation in your spine all the way up to your neck. Give yourself a few deep breaths. Each inhale, notice how your body expands. And each exhale, feel yourself let go. Maybe melting a little deeper. 2 more here. Opening and expanding with the breath in. And then releasing on that breath out. Last one. If your hand is to the knee, both arms out to the side. You're gonna take your left hand, bring it all the way over to meet the right hand as you roll up onto your right shoulder. Then you're gonna slide your left leg back to meet the right, hips down, roll onto the belly, and slowly come back up onto the forearms, nice and easy, okay? We're gonna go through the same thing now on the other side, starting with that little hip opening. So begin to pull your right knee out to that right side into that half froggy position, getting that nice stretch into the inner hip and groin. If it's too much with the elbows underneath the shoulders, walk the elbows forward a little bit, okay? Otherwise, stay here, hips press down, pull the ground towards you. If you want a little bit more, hands open up a little bit wider, and then press the hands, maybe float the elbows up. Hips continue to press down, and then pull the ground towards you with your hands. One more deep breath here. Elbows come all the way back down to the ground if they're lifted, forearms parallel. Right hand is going to walk forward slightly, bringing that right elbow forward about an inch. Left hand reaches behind your right elbow, palm up, and then reach it all the way through to drop down onto your left shoulder. Once you're here, right arm pulls back to open up the chest, and keep drawing that right shoulder back, back, back. Let the right knee peel off the ground, it's okay, until your right shoulder blade touches to the ground. You will be off your mat a little bit, it's okay. Once that right shoulder blade touches down, right arm falls to the side. Maybe your left hand comes to the top leg to help assist for more depth. Maybe your head rolls all the way over to that right side as well, getting that stretch through the neck. Give yourself 3 deep breaths. Once again, feel the expansion on the inhale and moving deeper on the exhale. 2 more deep breaths. Last one. Head comes back up to center. If your hand's to the knee, drop it back out to your side. Right arm is going to reach up and all the way over to the left side, rolling up onto that left shoulder. And then once you're there, stretch your right leg back, roll the hips down, and slowly come back up onto your forearms. Now from here, walk the hands back, and then press yourself back into a brief little child's pose. Maybe it feels good to keep the knees together and allow the body to round over your thighs, head drops down. If it feels better to separate the knees, listen to your own body. Couple deep breaths, just letting your spine relax here a little bit. Okay, slowly make your way up into a seated position. We are going to make our way into a supported fish. So with supported fish pose, we're going to grab our blocks, and we are going to use one block here. If you need another block or a blanket or something for the head for a little more support, you can do that, okay? We're going to keep the block on the lower setting. And the block on the lower setting, one is going to support right behind your heart. Okay, so if you know that your upper back is super, super tight, I want you to grab a pillow real quick for your head or a blanket or another block to place underneath your head. I am going to try to create a little more of an arc through the heart so the heart space fully opens up into that thoracic spine. So I want the head to try to be below the heart. Okay, so that's why my head's going to be resting on the ground. But let's go ahead and set that first block up. So it's going to be kind of side to side, and it's going to support the back of your heart. I do not want it pushing into your shoulder blades, so go right below the shoulder blades. Begin to recline back. Find that space to where it supports the back of the heart, but the shoulder blades are free, and then let the head drape back. So once again, sometimes letting the head drop below the heart is really difficult. So if it feels strenuous on your body, bring some support underneath the head. Once again, that can be a block, a blanket, a pillow, whatever you have available. Just create support for your head so you don't have to tense the muscles in your neck up to try to hold and support yourself in this position. You should feel fully held and supported by the block or whatever props you're using. So let the arms kind of spill out wherever they're comfortable, and let your legs take any shape they'd like. Maybe the knees stay bent. You can butterfly your legs for a little extra hip opening if you want. If you want, you can let your knees knock in and rest on each other with your feet wide, which does feel nice in the lower back, or just stretch your legs long. It's entirely up to you. what variation feels best. Give yourself about 6 really slow breaths and focus on letting go as much as you can and not rushing the breath. Use those exhales to release. Let's do 2 more breaths here. Okay. Whatever variation your legs are in, slowly make your way back to bent knees, feet flat on the floor. If this one feels super good and you just want to hang out longer, go for it. Listen to your body. Otherwise, elbows down to the ground. Lift your chin to your chest. Walk the elbows back until you can come up onto your hands. And as you come up with bent knees, just let your spine round over your legs. Hands can wrap around the front or the backs of your legs. And just let yourself hang out here for a breath. All right, lifting the head. We're gonna move the block out of our way. We shouldn't need it any longer, but have your therapy ball handy. Okay, you're just gonna need it nearby. Coming onto your backs again. Now from the spine, separate the feet about the width of the mat. And then open the arms out from the shoulders, straight out to a T. Keeping the feet approximately this distance, the width of the mat, let the knees drop to the right side. Just kind of opening up that lower back space. If you want a little more, slide the right foot on top of the left thigh and just let it anchor in a little bit. A couple deep breaths. Really focus on that lift and opening into that lower left quadrant of your lower back. If the foot is on top, place it back down. Swivel the knees to center. Make sure the feet stay the width of the mat and let the knees now drape over to the left side. And same options here. If you want to slide now your left foot on top of the right thigh, just let it sink in and relax here for a few breaths. And then releasing the left foot back down if it's lifted. Swivel the knees to center and let's grab our therapy ball. Okay, so with the therapy ball, I'm gonna start on the left side so that you guys have a good visual and then we'll move from there. But we're gonna be focusing on the lower quadrants of the back. So lower left side and lower right side. So we're gonna take up the space underneath the rib cage and down towards the hips. So that kind of fleshy open space between the ribs and the pelvis, okay? And we don't want to be pushing into the spine, so we're going to divide it into left quadrant and right quadrant. So we're going to start with the left side. All you're going to do is kind of let your legs tip to the right side, kind of lifting your lower left quadrant up. And then you're going to place the therapy ball. I like to start a little higher in that quadrant because we're going to be focusing on our QL, so our quadratus lumborum. And that's going to really kind of help us to alleviate some of that extra tightness that we feel in our lower back so often. But we can play with the placement here. So it's not just one specific spot. Sometimes you have to relocate it. So as you place the therapy ball in that lower quadrant, let your hips roll back down, rolling onto that ball. Now, you might roll up onto it and instantly feel a lot. Otherwise, you might lift your hips, reposition, move it maybe further down into the quadrant, maybe higher up towards the ribs, maybe closer towards the spine, okay? And you're gonna just try to find one of those little sweet spots. Now, if your knees are bent, it might feel good to keep them that way. It might feel good to let your knees tip a little to the left side. It might feel good to adjust the feet a little farther away. I want you to kind of play with it until you can feel yourself sinking down onto it. Now, if your therapy ball is really small or not very firm, you might also consider using a block underneath the therapy ball just to elevate it a little higher, and then you have a lot more pressure going down onto it. So even if, let's say, the little one isn't enough for you, you can elevate it, or if you just want a little bit more intensity, make sure that you can get the block underneath you as well as the therapy ball, and then you can let yourself sink down onto it and just let gravity just kind of melt you open. Let's take 5 slow breaths here. One more breath. And then gently lift the hips up, removing the therapy ball and or the block out of your way. Let your spine come flat down to the ground, and just give yourself a moment to windshield wiper your knees side to side. Okay, we got one more side to go through. So this time, let your knees drop a little to the left, letting that right quadrant lift up, and then let the therapy ball come underneath as you roll back up onto it, or press to the feet, lift the hips and adjust it. Same things, you can kind of play with the placement, play with the legs, the way that they're shaped, the way that they kind of move or adjust. If you want even more, you can lift up, place the block on its flat setting, the therapy ball on top, and then play and adjust, trying to find that sweet spot. Wherever you are, whether you have the block or you just have the therapy ball, just let yourself sink into it. Give yourself about 5 of those really slow breaths. If you start to lose it, readjust. If you're not quite sure, readjust. This is a pretty intense stretch, so you should absolutely be feeling it. Two more breaths. Lifting the hips up, remove the props out of your way. And once they're out of your way, hug your knees into your chest and just rock side to side. Roll over to either side and use your top hand to press all the way up into a seated position. Any seat, crossing the legs, lifting the spine. Close the eyes, take the hands to heart center. We're just gonna take a deep breath here. Slow inhale, fill up the belly to the ribs and into the chest. And through the nose, exhale through your chest, your ribs, and out through your belly. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice today. Namaste. All right, so if you're really craving a Shavasana take a little time, lie on your back, and just let yourself kind of sink into it. Otherwise, we did mostly stretching today. We were pretty slowed down and able to kind of release into the bodies. I would love to know how this practice felt for you, so let me know in the comments what you think. Share with someone who could enjoy. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see y'all soon. Thanks so much.